I'm Naomi Hopple, and this is Vibrant Sunshine Behind the Scenes. Join me as I grow my organic cold-pressed juicery to the next level. Thanks for being here. Today we're going to talk about the wholesale line at the Pittsburgh Juice Company and what makes it different from the juice we sell retail directly to our customers. There's a lot of regulation in the juice industry, a lot of red tape, and had I known this prior to getting started with juice 10 years ago, I probably would have done it anyway, knowing myself, but I may have come at it from a different angle. In the United States, juice can only be sold directly to your customer if it's fresh and unpasteurized. You can never sell to a third party, and there are many regulations on how you make it, how you store it, and how you sell it. These regulations are all made in the name of safety. I believe that it is important, obviously, to be very careful with fresh juice. With that said, it is equally important to be careful with anything fresh, including a fresh salad. And at the end of the day, isn't it so much better to eat vegetables than not to? You would be hard-pressed to say eating processed food all the time is better for you than eating fresh food. In 2020, after almost 7 years of business selling directly to our customers, be that at our store in Lawrenceville, at offsite pop-ups, online, delivered to their doorstep, we even experimented briefly with vending refrigerators that were like automatic vending machines with RFID tags. We got creative, but there were a lot of limitations to the people that we could actually reach and serve directly in a retail format. Also, over the years, I had multiple inquiries, many people reaching out asking if they could sell our juice at their cafe, restaurant, gym, market. And I always just had to say, no, I'm sorry, it's actually not legal. So in 2020, our pandemic project was our wholesale line. There was a lot of figuring out to do. And really, the only way you can wholesale fresh juice is by pasteurizing it. And being such a nutritious product, you don't just want to use any type of pasteurization. There's really only one type of pasteurization that is acceptable for fresh products, and that's called high pressure processing or high pressure pasteurization, commonly called HPP. HPP does not exert heat on the juice or the product that you're pasteurizing. Instead, it exerts immense pressure. And when I say immense pressure, I mean about 90,000 PSI. 90,000 pounds per square inch. It's the amount of pressure you would use to make cubic zirconium. There are actually very similar machines used to make cubic zirconium. So if you can imagine the juice undergoing this pressure, any bacteria that's present, particularly dangerous bacteria such as E. coli or Salmonella, would be rendered totally inactive and no longer be dangerous. It also pressurizes the product so that the shelf life increases from a handful of days to a couple of months, which in itself makes the product much more accessible because if you can imagine trying to wholesale a product that only lasts a few days, the amount of people it could reach before it expires would be extremely minimal. Whereas, if you're dealing with any kind of wholesale partner, let alone a distributor, there will be some lag time as the juice makes its way to its final destination. It also enables people to stock up a little bit and take the juice home with them if they don't live in a super accessible spot that's close to a city or a juicery or fresh produce to juice on their own. It really just opens up the door to so many possibilities and so many more markets and routes to customers who really enjoy and utilize our juice. Just the other day, I actually got a message from someone who started picking up our juice at one of our wholesale spots in the South Hills, Mediterra Cafe. And she sent us an Instagram message thanking us because apparently her mother is very ill and the only thing that her mother has been able to stomach is our watermelon juice. Berry watermelon juice, which is strawberry and watermelon, nothing else. And her mother has had a great deal of nausea and hasn't been able to get any nutrients intake into her body. So this is literally what she is subsiding on. And messages like that, the end of a rough day, really just make you feel good about what you're doing and the headaches that go along with being a small business owner. It's so great that we can reach people like that. Of course, there are purists out there who will tell you that HPP juice is terrible and it has no nutritional value and it's not even worth drinking. And on the other end of the spectrum, there are a lot of people who are told by their doctors that unpasteurized juice is dangerous. And because of their health condition, whatever that may be, they should not partake in it. Me, I'm not a doctor. I encourage my staff never to give medical advice, to each their own. We see many pregnant women who swear by drinking unpasteurized products. And then there are a lot of pregnant women who, on doctor's orders, are not going to touch unpasteurized product. And that is not for us to decide. And at this point, it's really nice that we can offer something for everyone. There is something interesting that's come up recently. There's actually a pop-up nearby that started freezing juice and selling it as a nutritious, fresh, frozen product. And they're touting about how HPP is terrible. And I will say, in my opinion, freezing juice is definitely not going to be better than HPP. Really, the best thing out there is drinking or eating the fresh plant-based product as close to the time of it being growing in the ground under the sunshine. You know, like that's when it's going to be at its peak nutrient value. If you can juice wheatgrass and drink it within 60 seconds of juicing it, that is wonderful. Do it. You're going to get so much benefit from that. But if you have to buy it off the shelf a day or two after it's been juiced, you're still going to get a lot of nutrients. And if you don't believe me, try it and see how you feel. That's the overriding theme of all of this. Our mission at the Pittsburgh Juice Company and Vibrant Sunshine is to make products that make you feel good and that you can feel good about. And in that way, we don't do a lot of selling because the people who try it and feel good realize it and they come back for more. There aren't a lot of places that do what we do. And it's because it's expensive and there are so many corners that you can cut in the name of profit. But there's something that feels really good about running a business with integrity and producing fresh products every day from beautiful green, orange, red, yellow, blue ingredients. So just to wrap up that conversation, our wholesale juice is the same exact juice as the juice we sell in our retail store. We juice it on our cold press juicer in our production kitchen in the Strip District right beside the 31st Street Bridge. At least for the time being, we'll be moving to Aspinwall within the next month. And then we bottle it. Our retail juice is bottled in 16-ounce glass containers. They're usable Pittsburgh Juice Company containers that everyone is familiar with. We have a return policy, so our bottles have an endless cycle of life, and a rewards program so our customers can get the benefit of recycling as well. Our wholesale juices are bottled in 8-ounce plastic bottles. And the reason for that is because the high pressure processing actually takes place after the juice is bottled. So it's very important that the juice has a bottle, a container that can tolerate this immense pressure and has a little bit of flexibility. If you can imagine, a glass bottle in a hyperbaric chamber would not survive. So once our juices are bottled in plastic, we seal them with a cap that's actually also made specifically to withstand this amount of pressure. And right now, our process is completely manual. The juicing, the bottling, the capping all happens by real people. It's a community effort every time we run our wholesale line. We are looking at ways to better automate it, but we're still in this space where we're kind of like between the lines. You know, the big fillers that offer capping mechanisms are wildly expensive, and we just don't have that much volume yet. We'll get there. So then we load up all of the juice into our refrigerated vehicle and we drive it to the high pressure pasteurization facility. It undergoes this process in the hyperbaric chamber. And honestly, the process only lasts 2 minutes. It's held at immense pressure for 2 minutes, but you can imagine the loading in, loading out, holding it, testing it, recording it, loading it back in. And did I mention that the closest facility to run such a load is 4 hours away? So it takes my driver all day to process our product. And again, yes, we would love to have our own HPP machine, but the cost of that is outrageous and the maintenance is even worse from what I understand. So for a while there, we were looking into bringing an HPP machine to Pittsburgh. But what we found after doing a market study is that, first of all, there isn't a lot of fresh food in Pittsburgh. Surprise, surprise. Second, the fresh food that is in Pittsburgh, there's just so much education to do on like what HPP can do for them. And I'm just not in a place to become an HPP salesperson in addition to everything else I do. So for the time being, we are relying on our tolling facility. That's what they call a facility such as that. And what I didn't tell you is that the setup to be able to legally produce and distribute this juice is a little bit daunting. That's why I called it my pandemic project. And I was lucky enough that same year, my mother, who is a scientist by training, retired from geology and actually moved to Pittsburgh to work with me. And she has been integral in the process of setting up our wholesale processes, record keeping and implementing all of the recall policies, the hazard analysis plan, checkups with the Department of Agriculture, and all of it. She's also upstairs right now playing with my children, so if you heard some romping around, that was probably her. Thanks, Mom. If you have any other questions about HPP juice, wholesale juice, selling juice online, selling juice retail, I think I've done it all at this point. So I would be happy to talk about it. You can always leave me a voice message via Spotify. You're welcome to reach out to me via my Instagram, Green Juice and Yoga, or through Pittsburgh Juice Company, Vibrant Sunshine. I'm pretty easy to track down. This week in Aspinwall, we're finally getting closer to sealing up the floor. We were 10 feet below ground with the giant grease trap the health department ended up requiring us to have. Isn't that funny, being a fresh juice producer? I've been calling it the monster trap. My 3-year-old likes that. Today on my Instagram, I'll be posting some renderings of what the cafe is shaping up to look like. Very clean and crisp, sticking with our Vibrant Sunshine branding. We picked up some furniture this week too at Anthropologie Home Outlet, which is the most amazing place. We love to find statement pieces there for our Airbnbs as well. So things are starting to get fun. The ribbon cutting ceremony is on for August 16th. We'll keep you posted as we get everything together. I hope you have a great week. Thanks for being here. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to give us a follow at Vibrant Sunshine Behind the Scenes. You can find photos posted on my Instagram, that's Green Juice and Yoga, Naomi Hoppel, and also on the Vibrant Sunshine Cafe Instagram.